Alabama gets the win on opening night.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. Although they tell me that when I point at you, it points the other direction. So maybe I should do this. But from my vantage point, that's to you. Want to thank you every day for being every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks, everybody, for making this your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. Appreciate all of you. This episode is brought to you by Gametime, and we'll talk about them in just a bit. So Bama gets the win, 91-62. It wasn't exactly the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but it's almost a 30-point win. There were some moments where you're like, I see the youth in this team. Now, the one thing that should stand out to everybody, though, I kept hearing the broadcaster, and rightfully so, saying, you know, when LeBaron Finali's not in there, it doesn't seem to flow as well. Well, we're missing Aiden Holloway, who nobody knew, at least I didn't, that he was not going to play. I thought Latrell Wrightsell should be playing, and apparently he's sitting out too.
I think he's got a finger thing that popped up. I think he'll be fine.
And then Bristow was out.
Also out.
So and then of course, you know, we knew about Bethea was going to be out. So I mean, you're out four dudes who are going to get a lot of minutes, and you still beat somebody by 29. Pretty doggone good. Again, if you want to critique, hey, we could have taken care of the ball better, or shot selection wasn't great, or frankly, there were a few times the freshmen didn't shoot that they need to learn to shoot in this offense. But overall, you won by 29, and one of the guys that plays for North Dakota is 52 years old, and he's an accountant. I mean, that guy, he looked like
Eli King, the returning starter? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. I think he's the returning starter. He's been starting for 32 years at North Dakota.
The student section was giving that guy hell the whole game. The student section was getting on him every time he
touched
the ball.
They're not a student section if they don't. I mean, when you're a balding player for a college basketball team these days, you're not going to get a lot of freebie time. You're going to get heckled.
I think my number one takeaway was, number one is Philon. I'm going to come back to him in a second. My number two takeaway is I think it was really sloppy and really exciting. And I think the main reason it was sloppy is because the freshmen played so many minutes because the older guys were out. And the reason it was exciting is because the freshmen played so many minutes while the older guys were out. I think the freshmen were hugely responsible for the sloppy and the exciting, which overall is fantastic because as they get older, the sloppiness is going to diminish and go away, and the exciting is still going to be there. Just phenomenal talent on display from Amari Allen, Davion Hannah, and London Jamison in particular. I think the freshman big guy is just going to be a legit what freshmen are supposed to be all year, and we'll see him in limited minutes, and he could really be something down the road. The other three guys are going to help us win basketball games right now. Now, they do have to clean things up. But I really think the freshmen getting extended minutes because Holloway, Wrightsell, and Bristow were all out, and that's why the freshmen got extended minutes, and that was the story of the game. And what did the freshmen do with those minutes? They looked lost and sloppy. They looked exciting as all get out. And I think that's the story behind Philon, who I'd want to challenge. I hope he immediately went in the locker room and turned on the shows because we're live. I want to challenge Philon. Be the SEC Player of the Year. First team All-SEC, not enough. Be the SEC Player of the Year. In that regard, I think he got off to a solid, not spectacular, but a solid start for LeBaron Philon on a season that I hope he caps with the biggest trophy this league has for an individual.
Yeah, just for those who don't know, he ended up with 22 points, 3 total rebounds, 8 big assists. He did have 4 turnovers, but I think when you're the main guard and then you have 4 guys who are going to give you good minutes out, it certainly makes sense you're going to have some other turnovers because I'd be willing to bet some of those turnovers weren't really his fault.
He got doubled a lot.
Yeah, he got doubled a
lot. I mean, that was the North Dakota plan. Hey, double Philon when he's got the ball, and they did, forcing turnovers. I think that's something new. Philon didn't. When Mark Sears is on your team and you're a freshman, you don't see a whole lot of that. Now Philon's going to have to learn to deal with that and learn to take advantage of the fact of just the simple math. We all know Nate Oates is a math guy. Simple math, Philon. When two guys are guarding you, somebody is wide open, and it's his job to not necessarily find that guy, but find the next guy who can find that guy. And I think we got to make them pay for those double teams. North Dakota had some success with it tonight. You'll certainly see it from St. John's on Saturday. What a brutal schedule we got coming up. But good, solid, 29-point win against a team that you only beat by 7 a year ago. And I know it was a radically different team, but Alabama was a radically different team. I'm overall very pleased, but at the same time, a lot to work on.
A couple of things that stand out to me. First of all, Philon, he certainly looks like at least an SEC Player of the Year candidate. I thought Florida had some dudes, even though they lost to Arizona, they look strong again. I mean, they've got a few kinks to work out. No Walter Clayton Jr. That's going to be difficult for them. TB squared was okay tonight. I think he can be a lot better. I thought he missed some opportunities to do some nice things. Amari Allen, a freshman, getting the start. He looked good. Houston Mallett with 15 points. And I'm like, either you said this or somebody else said this in the chat. He feels kind of like our Jam Miller on the basketball court, maybe even more productive, but I mean it in sort of the soul of the team kind of way. Davian Hannah, I've been talking about how in these games, the exhibition games, that we didn't have a lot of high flyers, but Davian Hannah had a nice dunk. It was a really nice dunk. Noah Williamson, I can say this, like, we're going to need that big body, and I'm tempering my expectations of him a little bit more. I'm seeing what the criticism was lack of athleticism. What I'm hoping for is he makes up with that with fundamentals eventually. And I think once he settles into a good role, I think that'll happen. But I think the lack of athleticism was more on display tonight than anything else. And I think we can work through that once we figure out exactly what his role will be.
No, I couldn't agree more. Now, first of all, at that spot, the 5 spot, Aiden Sherrill was very good. I thought Aiden Sherrill clearly a better player than a year ago, and he's going to give Alabama a lot of really good minutes. The rim protection's very good. There's not going to be a ton of offense for him. That's okay. He made a 3 tonight, which is fun. But I think Aiden Sherrill proved tonight that he's going to be a quality SEC center. And what I would ask of Noah is myself, because I'm with you, Luke, 100%. I think he's a little limited. I'm going to use the word limited in the SEC for an SEC style of play, limited. But what I would challenge Noah is this: don't leave the Coliseum with 5 fouls to give. Don't when you're in there and you commit some fouls on the other team's big men while they're in the paint, not out in the midst of the open court on guards, but when you're defending big dudes in the paint, foul the heck out of them. Fine. I mean, to me, the backup center, that's a nice role to have. A guy you can bring off the bench. He's probably only going to play, Luke, 10 to 12 minutes. Pick up 3 fouls in 10 to 12 minutes and force the other team's big dude to earn it at the free throw line, and that'll be fine. Pick up a couple rebounds. He can really help us in a limited role and be and hey, if you're a role player on an SEC champion, that's really cool. But I think Aiden Sherrill will be the main 5. The other 5, the true freshman Collins, and I still haven't attempted the last name. Might be a while before I do.
And I had it because they said it a few times, and I had it. I practiced it, and now I've forgotten it.
Yeah. I'm not going to take that on for a while. He'll play even less minutes than Noah Williamson, but my hope for him is just, hey, practice against Aiden Sherrill every single day for a year, and then see where you are next year.
Because he's supposed to be a senior in high school.
That's
People
right. So he's
that.
not just a freshman. He's the freshest of all freshmen. He's a reclass kid. just practice against Aiden Sherrill is going to do that kid a world of good. And I love what we might be seeing from him year 2, year 3. But this might be a little much for him, as it would for anybody who reclasses. But I like this, Luke. I like that Sherrill can play a lot of minutes. Noah can give you the quality backup minutes. Collins can play garbage time. But there can be times when you have the full lineup on the floor. I fully anticipate, Luke, seeing Alabama play with Taylor Bowen as the big guy on the court and go small. Alabama is very effective when they go small because they just run up and down the court and run up and down the court. They're going to wear teams out. So I think between the small lineup, mostly Sherrill, a little bit of Noah, you've taken care of the 5 spot.
I don't think there's any doubt. Just really quickly, right before we go to break, pick your mic up a hair because it's scraping against your collar and making a sound every now and again. I bet you other people are like, thank you, Luke.
Oh, that's probably true. Well, it sounds like something I'd normally do after a few beers, but I had a beer-free opening tonight. I was kind of proud of myself. Now I'm up here doing
tonight.
Beer.
It was just vodka.
Now I'm just up here doing beer-type things with no beer.
Game time, college football and college basketball are back, and I couldn't be more excited. They got everything, the tailgates, the rivalries, the energy's in the stand. There's just nothing like it. Let's be real, though. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Lord, don't I know it. But I'm going to be using Game Time when I go to Madison Square Garden this Saturday. Check out the Tide, take it on St. John's. Can't wait for that contest, and this app's going to make it super simple for me. I promise you, if I can use it, you can use it. I'm not good with this technology stuff. I hear it's all the rage, but I've used Game Time, and I've used their customer service, which is even more important. And honestly, I highly recommend them. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply because they apply to everything. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, download Game Time today and be a happy, happy man. Or one, either way. So we won't keep it, but one more segment, Jimmy. Overarching theme tonight, team sort of like what we thought. I mean, they borderline got 100. I say this. We got to 91 with 4 guys who were going to give us good minutes if they were available. So I think it's fair to say that we probably left at least 15 to 20 points on the bench because of injury. So, yeah, technically I would think this would be a 100-point game. But when you're playing so many freshmen, and I think Davian Hanna was the one late in the game where the ball got moved around and he had an open 3-pointer. Now, I mean, it's open by college standards, not by lifetime pickup standards. It was open enough. And he pump faked it. He almost like did a Michael Jordan, it felt like. Again, they didn't show another angle of it, where he sort of like palmed it and brought it back down, then was going to drive around. It's just, that's not going to work yet. And in this offense, take it, man. We want you to take that shot. Like most everybody on the court, even Noah Williamson took at least 1 3. So, I mean, everybody's going to be taking threes except for the man who shall remain nameless because we can't pronounce his name. But
he's not going to shoot threes.
So what I'm saying is, I think there were a lot of moments like that that stood out to me. But overall, again, I think you got to be pretty happy with the performance, and you got to feel like, okay, this team's not perfect. And I'm going to tell you something: we're gonna lose games. I mean, not just because it's basketball too. I don't know if any of y'all checked it out. I watched Florida and Arizona. They both looked a lot sharper than we looked tonight. Arizona's got this dude named Koa Pete, who we did recruit, but he ended up at Arizona. He is a dude's dude. And Florida's got that Xavier Lee that they got in. I think he came from somewhere in the Ivy League, I think. And boy, he's a player too. So, and one other thing I wanted to throw out there that I almost forgot. I thought Lawson Schaefer did a fantastic job pointing this out. Collins, that's what we'll call him.
Yep.
Lawson said, you know what, if he wants to find a place on this team, what he needs to do is become the world's best screener. He's big, broad shoulders. You don't want to run into him. So what you do is you say, look, this year, we don't need you to score. I know in high school, you could score anytime you want to. You could block any shot you want to. You could rebound anytime you want to. You can't do that on this level. So what we're going to teach you to do this time, you're screening. You're screening everybody all the time, and they're going to hate running into you. And if he will do that, number one, it would be awesome for our offense, and he can contribute more. Number two, I firmly believe this, he will become a crowd favorite.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think a kid with his story and his age, and there's no doubt that'll be true. I just think he's going to have a hard time finding minutes because Aiden Sherrill has made that step now to become an SEC center. And I think when Alabama plays with a center, he's going to be out there as long as he can get up and down the court. And then, of course, Noah Williamson's going to play too. Overall, it's kind of hard to point things out that I was disappointed in. I'd hoped to get to 100. They didn't. I'd hope not to turn it over as much, but they turned it over too much. They were a little sloppy. They passed up some shots. But overall, particularly with Holloway out, Latrell Wrightsell out, Keaton Bristow out. And Bristow, I know a lot of y'all hadn't seen him yet. He's good. He's a guy that's going to help us a lot. But with particularly with Holloway and Wrightsell, who are basically starters, out, I thought it was a pretty phenomenal performance, really, when you take that into account. And I did a little breakdown on Twitter, really for my own. Sometimes I got to look at it myself. It's not like I'm trying to inform everybody else. I just want to look at it with my own eyes. We had 9 guys available, 4 freshmen, 2 sophomores. 6 of the 9 guys you're putting on the floor. 6 of the 9 are freshmen and sophomores. You still win by 30 now, or 29. Again, not a great team. They're picked to finish 8th in the Summit League.
They're not going to do that.
Finish 8th. I think they'll be a little better than that. Like I said on the show this morning, I think they're a better team than they were a year ago with more good players than they had last year. In terms of how they lost so bad tonight, they didn't have Eagle Staff, who last year scored 40. Add Eagle Staff and his 40 to what they had tonight. That would have been a difficult team for Alabama or anyone to handle in Coleman Coliseum. I mean, you're taking that monster off their roster, and they got to learn to play without him. But overall, I think that North Dakota is going to outperform their expectations, and I really like their little freshman point guard. I think he's fun to watch. He wouldn't be a good fit with us because he's real small. But, man, what an energizer bunny he is out there. I have a handful of decent players. But, gosh, nothing's going to really get you prepared for number 5, St. John's, in the Garden on Saturday.
Yeah, there's not a game we could probably play that would make us ready for that. It's going to be a big moment, and a big moment for a lot of freshmen. The only good news is they're freshmen. They may not even understand the magnitude of the moment. But really quickly, I'm not going to go through all the SEC scores, but everybody in the SEC won. Most of them won pretty handily. Florida did lose to Arizona. There's one glaring, obvious, like jaw-dropping exception. Auburn went to overtime to defeat Bethune-Cookman by 5. Auburn was favored by about 25. I'm not saying that Auburn's going to have a bad year, but it ain't looking sweet. I watched some of that game. They're okay, but there's a lot of holes in their game.
Bethune-Cookman named after former 80s Alabama linebacker George Bethune.
I remember him well.
That's not true, but it's
not
fun.
True at all.
We should just go with it. But we're going to go with that here, that it is named after George Bethune, because we remember him. Linebacker in the 80s, George Bethune, late 80s.
I want to say he was number 84, but I'm not positive.
You might be right about that. And he was an outside linebacker, kind of a defensive end outside linebacker type. I think he was part of the 85 class.
I think he was on that 85.
85
he was on that 85 team, yeah.
Probably finished up around 88.
Yeah.
When I was a freshman.
He was good. He was. I don't know if he was.
I named a whole school after him.
Look, we're going to let this go. We will be back tomorrow. We'll talk about this game a little more. We'll talk about some other SEC games. And, of course, we will talk a lot of football. So, until then, appreciate you guys tuning in for our live show tonight. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.